Today I'm gonna teach you one of the most sought out visual effects known to creatives. It is the slow motion lip sync effect. Stop being lame, maybe. It is the slow motion lip sync effect. This effect is super cool because what it allows you to do is have your artists and elements moving in slow motion while keeping the talent's lips synced with the music, which has been done by a few artists like
You against me, if you ain't complimenting, nigga, you a
and also by
We don't want change if that shit they go. Bitch, I need respect before I let the cake blow.
Now I have to admit, a ton of creators have broken this down before, but most have explained it in a pretty confusing way. I'm not only gonna simplify this effect to you, but I'm also gonna give you a simple formula that you, your mama, your auntie, your uncle and them can use to execute it perfectly. So with that being said, let's get into it. So for starters, I was shooting a music video for my first international artist a few months ago. The treatment for the song envisioned the artist singing in the rain, which was wrote by yours truly. Now instead of waiting on it to actually rain, which would have presented other problems, me and my team decided to build a rain machine. Now before I continue, if you're interested in seeing how exactly we did that with only $80, I'll leave a link to it somewhere up here. I thought making it rain would be pretty fire, but I really wanted to take it up another notch. So I decided I'd do the slow motion lip sync effect. The first step, which is the first thing that I did, was take the song and I sped it up. The way this effect works is if you have the artist perform the song at a faster speed and shoot at a higher frame rate, then when you slow it back down, the lips that were moving fast will now be on time while the rest of their bodies and any element that's moving normal speed is slowed down. So the thought is she'd be performing the song and the rain would be coming down in slow motion. Now if you're a shooter, you know the higher the frame rate, the slower the footage can appear. So crank that thing up.
You almost there. Keep pushing.
But since you're speeding the song up and the artist has to perform it, how slow you can make it depends on two things. One is how fast or slow the song is already. And two is how fast your artist can lip sing or rap. If the song is already too fast, then it may be impossible for your artist to perform it much faster. So this effect does work best with slower paced songs. Now luckily in my case, my artist is a singer, so I was able to speed the song up by 200%, which is twice the speed of the song. Now this meant that my frame rate needed to be 48 frames per second, so just doubling it, right? We shoot in 24, double it to 48. I've seen a lot of people do this effect and they shoot with some really weird frame rates. But to keep it simple, I'm gonna give you a graph which I think you should just follow. Don't do these weird frame rates. If you speed the song up to just 150%, then you would need to shoot at 36 frames per second. 200 at 48 frames per second. If you can speed it up even faster to 250%, you would need to shoot at 60 frames per second. And by the off chance you're working with a slow enough song, I'm talking about a Sid from Ice Age type of artist, and a super confident one, then you can do 300% speed, which you'll shoot at 72 frames per second. And you can speed the song up a couple of different ways. You can either throw the song in your editing program of choice, speed it up, and export it, or you can use an app. The app that I like to use is called Music Speed. I mean, mostly because it's easy to use. You just throw the song on your phone, you import it into the app, and the rest is pretty self-explanatory.
You got something that I need, ooh, you got something that I need.
Now, this isn't an effect that you just up and decide to do last minute because your artist will need some time to practice and get acclimated to performing the song at a faster pace. You're gonna need 3 quick tips, and I'll give them to you right now, that's going to really help make it easier for you and the artist to accomplish this. Give them at the very least a few days to practice this. Do a trial shot with the artist and test to make sure you got your math down. This will also help them get a better understanding of what the actual goal is because you can show them what the effect does. And any words that you don't get that looks right, I just cut to something else. Your artist won't be sitting there looking at you crazy like what the heck is going on. And 3, know that they don't have to get every word perfectly, just the main ones. Knowing that will give you room to do faster speeds, which ultimately will give you slower results. Now I made that first part easy for you by giving you a set list of numbers, but the harder part that most people overcomplicate it is what we got to talk about next. It's the most important part of actually doing the effect. Once you shoot and go back to post, you have to know how much to slow your shot down by to get it to match with the song speed. Now, since I shot at 48 frames per second, that's pretty easy. You doubled everything, so in post, you just cut it in half. So your speed is going to be 100% of your clip. You cut it in half, aka 50%. But let's say you did 36 frames per second, 48 frames per second, 60, or even a weird number that I didn't give you. I hope y'all don't do that. How do you figure out the right equation? I have the perfect equation for you to get the right number every single time. And I'm gonna give it to you for free, but Before I do, if you've enjoyed this content so far and want to see more, hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell so I can keep bringing you great content like this. Okay, now that we've got that out of the way, the formula for getting the speed to set your shots to is to take 10,000 and divide it by the song's speed percentage. So I'm going to start with the simplest one to make it make sense and to prove that it actually works. If you sped the song up to 200%, then we already know that we shot at 48 frames per second, and then we just cut the speed in post to 50% to get it to match. If you take 10,000 and you divide it by the percentage that you sped it up by, 200, you get 50. This formula's perfect because if you sped it up to 150%, filming at 36 frames per second, you wouldn't just know off the top of your head that you need to change the speed of the clip in post to 66.66666667. That's a lot of sixes, and I don't like it. Don't hit my line, Illuminati. I love Jesus. But for real, all you would do is 10,000 and divide it by 150. And you only have to change the speed to 66.66. Because I'm not just going to do 3. And that's it. If you have a camera that does variable frame rates and automatically converts the shot to 24 frames per second, then honestly, you kind of have a cheat code that helps you skip a step. And then you don't have to worry about this. Either way, this effect will take your video to the next level. If you don't believe me, just check out the video here.